Hey everybody, what is up? Fourth Seraph here, and today I have a very exciting video for you. I'm going to be giving you my guide on the best buildings to loot on Miramar. Now, if you have watched my streams at all, you know that I am something of a loot whore. I love to spend a ton of time looting, getting as much as I can, being level 3'd out of my mind, level 3 backpack just full of great gear, and then going and hunting down the win from there. So this is all going to be based off of my personal experience. Unfortunately, we don't have every statistic and everything like that, so I can't give you a ton of hard numbers, but I have a bunch of time in this game, and I always try and pay attention to spawns and things like that. So I think this will be pretty accurate, as well as this is information I've gathered from watching other streamers, talking with other streamers, and some of my friends who play a lot as well. So this should be a pretty good guide for you. And if you're having trouble finding all the guns, the sights, all the stuff that you need or want, this should help you out significantly. I think over my past 3 or 4 streams, I've only gone one game without a Car 98 or SKS. I've pretty much had at least one piece of level 3 gear every single game that I've found in a spawn, not taken off of a body. And I'm subtracting out some of the games where I just try and warm up, drop in, and kind of get killed and maybe get a kill or two. But every game where I'm seriously trying to play using these strategies that I'm about to talk about, I always get level 3 gear, almost always have a Car 98. There is the odd game where you just don't get the RNG on your side. But overall, you should not have a problem when using this. It works great for solos, duos, squads, or whatever. Keep this in mind because a lot of people have trouble on Miramar because they loot like it's Erangel. So I'll give you the quick rundown of the differences in looting. Erangel is area-based loot. So within, say, military base, there's all these good spawns. And they kind of go towards certain areas, but say with apartments, all of the apartments at military base have an equal chance of each other. So the loot could be spread out anywhere. On Miramar, it is not as much area-based as it is building-based. So when you know the buildings that will have the best loot, you can go anywhere in the map. You can land super remote, or you can land in Los Leones, the biggest city, and you won't waste time going into the useless buildings, and you can highlight your path along the best loot buildings, and that's how you will come out on top. So let's get right into it. My number 5 choice, and some of you might be a little confused, so stick with me, is these broken down shacks. Now, why do I like these buildings? Because they're almost always unlooted. You find them scattered throughout the map. They're easy to get in and out of. They're relatively safe to loot, and they're good cover in case you get shot at while you're looting. And they have very good medicine spawns. You will find lots of first aids, lots of boosts, lots of bandages, and all of that. And in some of the higher loot areas, the meds are the thing that you can come out really lacking. That tends to be the thing where if I'm just looting the highest loot buildings, I seem to not have as much as I would like. Now, I'm pretty fast at looting, so I always seem to get enough by the end of my looting cycle, but sometimes if you're getting a fight and things like that that take longer, then you just run out of time. So these are great buildings to hit up for a little bit of extra ammo, a little bit of extra meds. They're not going to get your Car 98. They're not going to give you your 8 times usually, although obviously those things can still spawn. It's not a super high chance, but of the things that are still semi-valuable like meds, they are great, and I always run through to pick up a few extra things. My number 4 choice is going to be the high-rise buildings, the ones with the blue on the bottom, or I think Los Leones and maybe a few other cities have yellow that are like 2 stories instead of 4 or 6, but I have a picture of them up on screen so you know specifically which ones I am talking about. These buildings are great. Not only do they make great cover and things like that if you do want to hang out in them or if you do take a fight, but they also have great loot spawns. There are lots of loot spawns on each floor, as well as a lot of loot spawns on the stairs as well, which you don't get in a lot of the other high-rise buildings. These ones are really great. They're all around the map. I always get good stuff out of them. They're not my top choice or where I usually land first, but I go there usually as a second or third choice. Maybe I need a red dot, maybe I need, some more ammo, maybe I need some grips. a lot of that kind of secondary loot that you need to, you got your M4, you got your SKS, you got your Car 98, you got your 8x or your 4x, and you just need some of that secondary stuff. This is great for that. These are the buildings that you want to hit up for that. On to number 3. My number 3 choice is the brick warehouses. Now, these buildings do leave you more exposed, but the thing I like is that you can loot them so fast. These are some of the fastest looted buildings, especially if you don't want to go up top. But even if you do, there's not a ton of doors to open. There's not a ton to run around. Most of it is right out in the open. You can run through easily. Even if you're just passing through, you can pick some stuff up. There's loot spawns on the roof. I land on the roof a lot. When I land on one at Los Leones, if you guys have seen me on stream, you know that I land there all the time. Loot the roof, loot the whole thing. Almost always get what I need. And they just have, again, a lot of loot spawns. It's very condensed and a lot of high loot spawns. I've been in them where I've found multiple pieces of level 3 gear, multiple Car 98s, multiple 8x in one single building. They have a lot of high level spawns, so they're very, very good for that. And again, these are kind of scattered all around the map. My number 2, and this is the most unique building that I put in my list. For the most part, I didn't put any of the super unique ones like prison or casino, because those ones, while they do have good loot, they're only really in one place, so it's not really worth knowing, because who goes prison? It's so far in the corner, you have to go so far, there's no good car spawns by it. I have to run to circle almost every time, or run super far. Don't go there. Go to the boxing arena. These are great. They're 1, very fast to loot. 2, you have a lot of fun fighting in them, and there are a couple of them. Now, I recommend going Pozo, not Picado, because Picado is the most popular place. If you come out of there alive, you are a god. But if you come out of there alive, you will have god level loot. So it will be worth it. Keep in mind, this is one of the buildings affected by how many players drop at or near it. If you go Pozo by yourself, you really stretch it, there will not be as much loot here. Now, I don't have confirmation. There's no statistics, I don't think, out there confirming that the more people drop somewhere, the more loot there is. But we all know it. We've all been there where we drop it like somewhere really popular and you're like, oh, I dropped at school and no one else is here and there's one gun in the entire school, or something like that. It's happened to all of us. I know it's in the game. I can say with 99% certainty that it is true. But I go here. It's great for duos and squads, especially because there's a lot of gun spawns. So usually everyone can get at least something. As well as I feel like most people come out with at least you get 1 or 2 pieces of gear, even if you drop their squads, before having to go to other buildings and stuff. And if you drop the one in Pozo, then you can go to that apartment building, that high rise there, right afterwards, the office building, and get all of your secondary loot. It's really close and a very safe walk, so I like to combine those two together. Now, into my number 1 choice. And if you have watched my streams at all, I'm sure you guys already know what it is. The concrete buildings. These concrete buildings are the god buildings on Miramar. They have an ungodly amount of loot. I always try to drop at one of these if I can. There is so much stuff. They're really fast to loot because there's no doors to open, especially if you can land on the 3rd story of the one and run down. Then you don't even have to climb up on anything at all, and it is great. You'll get so much loot. They're super fast to loot, which is great. You can run through. There's a ton of stuff, and there's usually multiple close together if you land in a city. But you can also find them out in the middle of nowhere, and don't think that because they're away from a city, there's nothing good there. There is. Every time I'm playing random squads and we drive up on one, people always just run around and don't seem to care, and I run up and get some piece of level 3 gear, or a sniper, or something really good out of it. So definitely check these buildings. I guarantee that if you check these buildings and avoid the just houses that take forever, full of stairs and doors and things you have to open, and rooms that may not have anything spawned in them at all, that if you start sticking to these buildings, start creating some loot paths so you know how to go from all these 5 buildings, just sticking to ones like this, that it will change the way you loot. You will come out with so much more stuff. When I first started playing Miramar, I felt like I never had enough. I felt like I was always underlooted, always missing a bunch of stuff, and since I figured this out, it has changed the way, and I prefer playing on Miramar just for the reason that I know I will always have amazing loot and can use whatever I would want. But anyways, guys, if you want to watch me play on stream, make sure to turn on notifications. You can join my Discord. I do stream on YouTube and Twitch both now, so you can watch on either platform or on both if you want to be super awesome. I would also love if you post in the comments below and let me know how this works for you, if there's other buildings that you like, if there's strategies that you have, and I will be coming up with a loot map path, all my favorite ways to go depending on where the plane comes from and things like that, to give you a more in-depth strategy, all the ways that I do it, and to kind of connect all of the dots that I laid out in this video. So that video will be coming out very, very soon. But that is all I have for you right now. So until next time, I will see you guys online.